Did the Charlotte Hornets draft the next Giannis or a Timu Wemby? Time will tell. But one thing is for sure. It's an indication that I think we're going to be tanking this year. Like intentionally tanking this year. Tidjane Salaun, welcome to Charlotte. Genuinely, not the guy I wanted at 6 at all. To the point where I've made video after video after video. I've done stream after stream on Bleacher Report. I've discussed this plenty of places else and have never mentioned this guy's name because I didn't think he was going to be in play. Up until today, Kristen Peak with Yahoo tweeted out that the Hornets were higher on him. And I think I've seen him between 9 and 12 in other people's mocks. And then when 6 comes, Castle goes 4, and it's like, all right, Holland goes 5. You're like, oh, my guy, Donovan Clingan is there at 6. Here we go. Other teams want him. We're just tweeting about guys trying to trade up to get Clingan. And they take Salaun. And I can't help but wonder why. Here's why I mentioned Giannis at the beginning of the video. Just listen to this. This is what they said about Giannis at the time. The mystery surrounding the player known as the Greek Freak was one of the big stories headed into the draft. He's an 18-year-old who played on a second division team last season. 6 months ago, few knew who he was. At number 15, he's a gamble that could pay off big for Milwaukee down the road. Right? That was SB Nation in their 2013 draft grade and results. Just a little blurb. This guy's not going to be Giannis. Very few people are. But he's a gamble that could pay off big down the road. That part, I think, is very much in play for Tidjane. I have not watched extensive film on this young man, but looking at the highlights that he's posted himself and what you could find on CBS Sports, he seems to love a corner 3. He's a big kid, 6'9", right? 200 plus pounds, 7'1" wingspan. You can see the archetype, the frame, the potential there just from his build, right? And then you watch him move around the floor, coming off screens and operating off the catch and shoot. And the potential of it, if he could somehow become a day one contributor, if he's at that level right away, him fitting that role as a shooter. But his highlights and his stats don't match. 31% from 3 on 4.5, let's say, attempts a game. Like, it doesn't quite compute. But he's 18. There's potential there. He's young. Like, when you look at his highlights, like you know exactly who he is when he's out there. He doesn't look like a kid at all. And I do appreciate and admire guys that are able to contribute to professional teams in Europe at a young age, which he has done, and what why he got this notoriety and why he's in a position to be drafted with the 6th overall pick in this draft. But there's a lot to learn there. And you have time because he's 18. This selection indicates that they really believe in Mark Williams and Nick Richards, hence why they passed on Clingan, which is also crazy because Portland have Ayton and Time Lord. So, like, what are they going to do? But that's their problem, not ours at the moment, right? Salaun, where he kind of fits in, maybe at the 4, right? If he can somehow, assuming he's part of today's plans, not the Greensboro plans, he seems like a Greensboro guy, but who knows? We don't know how they're going to operate, how this new front office and coaching staff want to develop him. But let's pretend he's with the big team right away. As a 4, he looks, the way he wants to play offensively is very much how JT Thor was used last year as a corner 3 guy, right? So having another one of those guys, they got 6'9" plus dude who can knock down corner 3s. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you look to move on from Bertans and potentially Miles Bridges. The Hornets needed depth everywhere, and if he could somehow find his way into the rotation, it's a good pick. I think it's just going to be a while before, like, to expect an 18-year-old to fit in right away. I think that's a little too tall of an order, right? But as far as I know, Charles Lee, the new head coach, is going to be coaching Summer League. We're going to have the California Classic and then the actual Summer League in Vegas to see this guy up close, not up close, but you know what I mean. See this guy operate under Charles Lee, right? Charles Lee's going to see him up close and how he can operate. And that is promising, that the new coach is going to be like really hands-on to this project, because an 18-year-old kid from France, that's a project, a long-term project. It makes me wonder, do they let Bridges go and go in on the youth and hope to be in a position to have a very good draft pick next year? Them drafting a power forward, having Grant Williams and JT Thor, and Bridges asking reportedly for $30 million a year, right? The Hornets have had an exclusive negotiation period with Bridges since the finals to now, and nothing has come about it. It just reeks of him departing. I know he says he wants to stay, but it takes two to tango. I don't know what's going to happen there. Salaun is not Miles Bridges' replacement or insurance at all. Like, they're not even near the same level basketball-wise. But when you think long-term, is that their hope? Is that the plan? Is that why they picked him there? Do they see him with Mark Williams and Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball and Trey Mann or whomever? Was that where we're headed? Not bad if it all plays out, if everyone stays healthy, but there's a lot of ifs there with a lot of those guys, right? Especially on the injury front. So this is a quote from a journalist that's covered the player talking to CBS Sports. So Keentard, I don't know, apologies for the pronunciation, but he says that the important point to mention about Tidjane is his confidence. He can miss 3 shots, but he will make the next one. He has 100% confidence in his ability. He is very joyful. And that's not nothing. I don't want to overstate it, but for a young guy learning on the job at a high level in the NBA, maintaining a high level of confidence, that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. We're going to find out more about why they picked him. I'm sure they're going to, when they introduce him, there's going to be media availability the next couple of days. Like, legit, the draft is still going on. Isaiah Collier just got drafted as I'm recording this. Just to give you an idea. So we're going to find out more about him as time goes on. But it's interesting. It's an interesting pick. I would not have made the selection at 6 at all, but it's where we're at. And I wish him the best, and I truly hope he delivers, because you look at his numbers, right? In France, like 9.7 points a game, 31% from 3, 3.9 boards, 1.1 steals. Like, that doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like he should be a top 6 pick based off the numbers. We compare him to Aaron Gordon or Chandler Parsons. I've also seen Obi Toppin as a comp. Like, these are all serviceable role players, and that's what this draft is. It was a draft of role players. If someone pops and clicks and like stands out amongst the bunch, great. But I think at minimum, especially in the top 10, you're hoping to get guys that can contribute in your rotation. And I think the Hornets didn't do that. They got someone that can contribute into the rotation later in the year or next year. It doesn't seem like this is going to impact things or improve things right away, which makes me think they're thinking longer term, right? New owners, new front office, new coaching staff. There's a grace period amongst the fans, right? This market isn't going to kill the powers that be, because they're not winning right away. There's not a win now pressure right now. I'm sure everyone wants to win, but there's not that like need. And if there was, I think they would have gone a much different direction on draft night. And I think they're showing some restraint and patience, which is refreshing when you have new owners, because typically it goes the other way, where they want to rush and they want to trade future picks and bring a star in, or a guy who used to be a star in, and impact things now and put their stamp on things now. At first full draft with the new owners, we'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm gonna give the pick a C+. I'm not an F, not a D. I'm going C, because I would have gone a different direction, and I'm giving the plus because I want to be positive about it and wish them the best, because I really do. I want my team to be good. I want this team in the playoffs. I want this team competing for Eastern Conference contention and representation in the Final Four and in the NBA Finals. Like, I want all that stuff, and I want him to be a part of it. Will he be? I don't know. I have no idea. But when you kind of look at the projected starting five, like LaMelo, probably Trey Mann at the 2, Brandon Miller at the 3, Grant Williams at the 4, and Mark Williams at the 5. Your second unit, Micic, McGowens, Thor, Curry, Nick Richards, right? Nick Smith Jr. There's a lot of work to be done in that realm. Cody Martin, right? Can Tidjane get into that mix? Because it's not a very competitive group. There's room to get into that mix, to compete for a spot there, right? Especially if they move on from Bertans, you know what I'm saying? So there's a potential for him to get in the mix, but I don't see it. And I don't see this team winning many games with that bench grouping, because if anyone in that 5 gets hurt, in that starting 5, it's over. It's over again. And we're looking at the lottery once again, which I suspect in the back of my mind, because the Hornets next year's pick is lottery protected. This is last year. This is the last year, the Kai Jones fiasco, right? Where they traded back in with the Knicks and all this stuff. So the Hornets keep their pick next year if it's a first-round pick. Sorry, if it's a lottery pick, which is looking very likely at this stage. And I think that has to have factored into this, whether they'll admit it or not. But again, I give it a C+. Tidjane Salaun, here for it. I'm hopeful. He seems like a nice kid. Seems like a good prospect. Emphasis on prospect. If it clicks, great. If it doesn't, it's a low risk, high reward type thing in a draft that wasn't very good to begin with. So let me know what you think about the draft pick below. Let me know in the comments below. But I've been Sam. You've been great. Welcome to Charlotte. Tidjane. Peace.